the Oval Office with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just telling him that he's by far the best president Israel has ever thought of seeing. Let's listen and see if they take questions.
So let's see
A great champion.
what this gonna be.
And you actually do the things that you say you do. And I think that people respect that enormously. I certainly do, and the people of Israel do, and I think the Jewish people do as well. We just saw your representative in the Department of Justice fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel in international forums. I just want you to know from the heart, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. As you said, we had the opportunity to talk together on many subjects.
Flattery will get you everywhere
Tariffs, it's a subject of some interest to me.
with this clown.
I can tell you that I said to the president a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the
What is our trade
position
deficit
of the
with
United
Israel?
States that says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us.
I mean, what do we
but
trade
we don't put tariffs on them. And
other
free
than
trade champion and free trade has to be fair.
military force
And I think
and
that's basically the
plans of
position that you
colonization?
put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs and rapidly. I had the opportunity to speak to Secretary Lutnick yesterday. We talked about how we could affect this quickly, and I hope to bring the solution very quickly. We're not talking about intentions. We're not talking about just words. We're talking about results. And those results are going to come. So that's the first.
Thank you very much. It's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, what was your message to you?
Well, we spoke about not only the hostages, but about Gaza. The hostages obviously is a human story of just unbearable agony. I speak to the families. I spoke to them yesterday. Spoke to another one when I was in Hungary before I came here. I speak to them every day. They're in agony. The hostages are in agony, and we want to get them all out. Steve Witkoff, President Trump's very able representative, helped us get a deal that got 25 out. We're working now on another deal that we hope will succeed. And we're committed to getting all the hostages out, but also eliminating the evil tyranny of Hamas in Gaza.
What happened to the ceasefire?
Enabling the people of Gaza to freely make a choice.
Who broke that
to go
ceasefire?
wherever they want. I mean, they should have that choice. And the president put forward a vision, a bold vision, which we discussed as well, including the countries that might be amenable and are amenable to accepting Palestinians of their free choice if they choose to go there. And I think that's the second thing that we discussed. But the hostages came right on top.
Just like the Native Americans, free choice, right? It's better for them. It's better for you.
We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated. We don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attacking Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The president has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict.
He is using this clown
I think we can have it better.
in the full force and credit
President of the United States for this purpose.
of the United
And of course,
States
we also discussed Iran.
to support his goals in a country that he thinks has been ordained by God for him to occupy.
That would be a good thing. But whatever happens, we have to make sure that Iran does not have
And this clown sitting next to his left, watch what he says. Watch this dribble he spits out.
Wait. We're having direct talks with Iran. And they've started, it'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful.
They want to go to war.
In Iran's best interest. If
They
are
want to wipe
successful.
these people out.
We hope that's going to happen.
No, you don't.
And we had just a lot of good talks on a lot of things. I appreciate very much what you said about the tariffs.
This is a world, a global takeover.
By many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't
And it's
do
gonna
it anymore.
backfire.
Can't be the stupid people anymore. And it's all because of the
God ain't happy.
people that sat in the seat right here. Not your seat, but this seat. They allowed things to happen to our country that they shouldn't have allowed to happen on trade and other things, many other things. I mean, look at what's happened with our last president, where he allowed millions of people to come into our country with an open border. Who would want an open border? How stupid was that? But he allowed millions and millions
He's
of
not
people.
president no more,
And
man.
of the millions, and I think it was 21 million people, but let's say 3 of them were serious criminals, serious murderers and drug dealers and gang
Rapists,
members and people from jail.
mental
All the
institutions,
jails emptied out. right
insane
into our country, right
asylums.
along the open border on Mexico, generally the Mexico. They came in from Canada too, by the way, a lot. But generally speaking, on the southern border. And what a shame it is that we are now working very hard to get them out, get the criminals out, get the murderers out, the drug dealers, the mentally insane, get them out. They dropped the mentally insane in our country too. And this was all
He
done by
can't-
the Biden
he just can't get away
administration.
from
It's a disgrace that
that.
we have to work so hard. And then we have judges that try and protect these people.
Whatever that-
But they
that
didn't protect
message or
us when
story
people
he's
were
told
being let
himself.
in. But to get them out is never easy with these people. So
He continues
I think we're
to
doing a great job.
spew the same
border is the
bullshit.
best it's ever been. It's even as strong as it was. I had a great, solid border. I think it might even be tougher right now and stronger. So people are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. We have a legal process, and we have that moving along properly because we need people to come into
Today
our
is
country.
April
But we want
7th,
people that
2025.
love our country and cherish our country. So that's
By the
who
time we
are.
get to
And with
July
that, any
4th,
questions?
of this same year, this country is going to be in
Would
free
you be
fall.
open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
That's my prediction.
Looking at that, we have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals, and in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan. And they sold millions of cars into our country. They don't really take our agriculture, a little bit of it just to keep us slightly happy, but they don't take what they're supposed to be taking. So we have a great relationship with Japan. We're going to keep it that way, but they're coming in to meet, and other countries are coming in. With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've done for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that
So 84, 85% tariff on China.
hundreds of
And everything
billions
we
of
get
dollars
comes from
international
China?
trade.
Really?
And it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi.
This
I
dude
always
is
gonna
not
stay that way. I have great
a
respect for
sane
China,
person, people.
But they can't do this with just.
You are looking at a very sick man right
And no
there.
other president's going to do this. What
He
I'm
is
doing.
truly insane.
And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it because we have been just destroyed. What they've done to our system. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason.
Yeah.
And
8 of it
the
came
reason
from
is
you.
that people allowed it to get that way. So we'll be talking to China. We'll be
And the
talking
rest
to
came from
a lot of different countries.
Ronald Reagan and George
And I
Bush,
think, you
the
know,
majority of it.
if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people.
You're
that
right.
were in
You
the
are
Oval
putting
Office
America
put America
last.
last, and we're not going to stand for it. You know,
You are setting us back to be in last place on a global scale. You fucking idiot.
2 questions. Do you expect any of these deals to be made before before April 9th? And secondly, there have been some mixed messages from your administration. You're talking about negotiations, and yet others in your administration are saying that these tariffs are actually permanent. What is the action? What's
They can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there could also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs. We need open borders. You know, we almost had a deal with China.
We need open borders?
We open up China. It was almost done. Some of you remember it during my first term, and it was very disappointing. We ended up making a great deal. $50 billion worth of product was sold. $50 billion. You'd like that in Israel. And I made that deal, but it wasn't the deal that I wanted. It was the deal that I wanted was that, plus they were going to open up China so that our companies could go into China and compete with other countries.
So we want them to open up their borders, but we want to close ours down.
And at the very end, that deal was terminated, and we went to a piece of the deal.
This dude is a fucking idiot, man.
So there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are
They
a lot of
paint him
things
up to
like
look like
opening up
he's
countries that were totally closed.
presidential,
China's
and this dude is
essentially
sick.
a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country, and what they do is they charge tariffs so that if
One-track
you sell
mind.
cars,
Simpleton.
so if you sell anything, nobody's going to buy it because the price is out of control. But that's true with a lot of other countries also. So we're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country.
America, you
And we know
deserve
we're gonna have nothing to do
what
with
you
them.
get
They're not
with this
gonna be allowed to
motherfucker.
participate in the United States.
And not just the people who allowed him, not the people who voted for him, not just those people. The American system that allows somebody like this to be able to come in and take over the fucking government, thereby taking over the fucking world and selling us out to the people who have no interest in us doing well, and kicking everybody else out that's on our side.
Well, I'd like to see the war stop, and I think the war will stop at some point.
There's no logic
in
to
the
it.
too distant future. Right now, we have a problem with hostages. We're trying to get the hostages out. We got
No understandable logic,
It's a long
at
process.
least.
It shouldn't be that long. We have a big problem that we've done. I think I'll ask Pete to maybe talk about it for a second, because a lot of people are asking the Houthis. We've been very tough and very successful militarily. We've really damaged them badly. These were people shooting down ships and other things, by the way.
Shooting down
Flying
ships.
objects like airplanes. And we've put a major hurt on the Houthis, which nobody's been able to do.
Flying objects like
really
airplanes.
hit them hard, and they know it, and they don't know what to do. And it's every night, night after night, and we've gotten many of their leaders and
Brother,
their experts. They're experts.
they
on
are gonna
missiles,
hit
and they
us
actually make missiles. Nobody thought that.
on this
But they
homeland
make missiles. It's highly
like
sophisticated
nothing
and
we've ever
very
seen
tough,
before.
But they've been very badly damaged. Nobody
9/11
was
was
able to do
shit.
that. But us, Pete, you want to discuss that, please?
Yes, sir.
These people are
It's been a
coming for
bad
us,
3
man.
weeks for the Houthis.
All because of
It's
this
not
climate.
worse. It's been a devastating campaign.
And this climate.
Facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets.
This cat
They're
is
not
the
gonna
Secretary
relent.
of Defense.
And it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear with the Iranians as well. They should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has been made very clear. So we have a lot more options and a lot more pressure to apply, and we know, because we see the reports, how devastating this campaign has been, and then we will not allow.
This is not a weekend talk show, a
There's no
weekend news
military
show.
like our military, and
A weekend spin
money
zone.
having given a lot, but nevertheless a pretty small piece.
But the reality of it is,
of our military weight in
this is what we're
Afghanistan,
dealing
one of
with.
the dumbest situations, I think, and maybe the most embarrassing situation we've ever been involved in. That short period of time in Afghanistan, what a disgrace that was. But
all he wants to do is go back and blame and point and deflect and project.
Where they're parading trucks that are armor plated and different things.
Fuck
and
Joe Biden, nigga. What are you
millions of
doing?
dollars were left behind. But despite that, we have a tremendous military. That was a very small portion because we rebuilt the military during my first term, and we have great.
The military ain't gonna be shit if they can't get the parts and the chips that they need.
Which is in the facility
to operate the mass weaponry that you're so
and no
banking
one's seen
on.
anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious. But
This
the
dude
military
is not
something we have
sane,
to
man.
build, and we have to be strong because you have a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget. And I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were
Nobody's ever seen anything
under
like it.
Doge, but under a lot of other. When you look at a woman getting $2 billion for environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out. But we are getting a very, very powerful military. We
So
have
soon
things
he's gonna
underwater
say
now, the likes of which
something
we've
to the
never had
effect
before.
that,
We've
there you
never had
go.
the kind of,
Nobody's ever seen it
aircraft,
before.
the kind of missiles,
And nobody could ever do it but me.
anything, that we have ordered, and it's in many ways too bad that we have to do it, because hopefully we're not going to have to use it. But the military is very, very powerful, and it's going to remain that way.
How do you?
Yes, we.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about Iran because this is the first time we hear that the U.S. is having a direct contact with the Iranians. Is it possible to give us some more information at what level the U.S. is
High level,
involved?
very high level.
And
We're dealing with the Iranians. We have a very big meeting on Saturday, and we're dealing with them directly. You know, a lot of people say, oh, maybe you're going through surrogates, or you're not dealing directly, you're dealing through other countries. No, we're dealing with them directly, and maybe a deal's going to be made. That'd be great. It'd be really great for Iran, I can tell you that. But hopefully, we're not going to have to get into that. We're meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level, and we'll see how it works out. Please.
How do you ensure, Mr. President, that these tariffs don't drive U.S. trading partners into the hands of the Chinese?
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. They want to be in the hands of the U.S. They don't want to be in the hands of the Chinese.
Just like he wasn't worried about
The Chinese
COVID.
have turned out to be really not very good at that.
His attitude about
People that
everything
are with
now
us,
is
they're with
it's
us.
just gonna go
But we
away and
cannot
it's gonna
be,
work and it's gonna be
taken
great.
advantage of any longer. I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. You know, I've been
And
talking about
COVID
it
happened
for
in the
35
last year of his presidency.
How
This is the
our
first
country
year of his
is
presidency.
being ripped off. I mean,
Do you
30 years ago
understand
was Japan,
the
then it was
trouble
something else, and it was another
that
group,
we
and it
are
was
in?
China. China's doing the best job of it, frankly, and it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Better get right with God. That's all I can tell you. I can show it to you, but all I can tell you better get right with
The
God.
EU, no, it's not. The EU has been very tough over the years. It was, I always say, it was.
No matter
formed
what
to
you refer to in
really
that.
do damage to the United States.
Allah,
and trade.
Jehovah,
That's
Jesus.
the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe. I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them.
You better get
And
right
they
with
formed
it.
together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force against the United States for trade. So they have NATO, which is largely the same countries, and they took advantage of us dollar-wise and militarily until I got there. You know, I was able to get $600 billion from NATO, where they paid NATO because most of these nations weren't even paying. We were paying for NATO, so we're paying them to guard them militarily, and they're screwing us on trade. So that's not a good combination. So now it's really turned around. It's the opposite, and the European Union has
No, it
been
hasn't.
very bad to us. They don't take our cars, like Japan in that sense. They don't take our agricultural product. They don't take anything practically.
Because they don't need our
send
cars.
Millions of cars in a year. Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the U.S. But we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union or other places. But let's go for the European Union. And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair and reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair. We have a deficit with the European Union of $350 billion.
Outside of our
It's
trucks,
going to disappear fast. And one of the reasons and one of the ways that that
Our
can
cars
disappear
can't compare
easily and quickly
to
is they're going to have to buy
German
energy
cars.
from us because they need it.
The Japanese
They have to buy it from
cars.
us. They can buy it. We can knock off $350 billion in 1 week. They have to buy and commit to buy a like amount of energy, and we have that.
So why are they
more
gonna
energy than any
import
country in the world. I don't know if you know that. You know
an
something.
inferior
The
product
one thing you may not know, we have more energy than any country in the world.
when they
We
can
have
get it
more,
right there within their own
every
space?
kind of energy, every form of energy, from
Idiot.
oil and gas to coal, and people talk about, I call it beautiful, clean coal. As you know, Germany is opening up a coal plant a week. They tried the windmills and it didn't work. They tried all the other solutions and they were ready to go out of business. Now they're doing a coal plant a week. China is now up to 2 coal plants. They're opening 2 major coal plants every single week in China, all over China. And then we're not allowed to use coal. Well, we have clean, beautiful coal more than anybody else. We have oil and gas more than anybody else. We have the most energy of any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including everybody, by a lot. And I took it to number 1. We were number 3, and I took it to number 1 during my administration. And the reason that we were hurt so badly, and the reason that we went into such incredible inflation during Biden is energy. It was also their bad spending, but energy. Because they played around with this.
Anytime he starts doing that with his hands,
this administration,
he's lying.
And the energy
He's trying to sell you on
and
something.
when that went up,
That's one of
everything
his
else followed.
ticks.
Now, if you look at what's happening, you're gonna see this today. I said we're gonna try and get groceries down, right?
In a minute, he's gonna tilt his head and say,
eggs. So when I got in, the press went absolutely crazy the first week. They said eggs have quadrupled in price. I said, I just got here. Tell me about it. And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job, and eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place. And this was a problem that somebody else would have taken a long time to cure. We have energy is down. We have interest rates are down. We have groceries, meaning food is down. We have everything is down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. Energy looks like it's going to be in the $2.50 a gallon range, and maybe below that.
how can someone who communicates this way
we're really doing amazing.
reach
we're cutting prices.
this level?
Prices got so high, people couldn't live. I mean, the prices for groceries, the prices for standard groceries, standard things were going through the roof. They couldn't live, and now those prices are coming down. So call them groceries, but that's down, energy's down, and interest rates are down. Everything's down. And the interest rates, the beauty there is when we refinance debt, debt's become such a big factor in this country.
You know about debt.
Paying debt off with tariffs and other things, but
you just don't pay it back. That's your answer.
Well, now that's coming way down.
Give me more, but I ain't gonna pay it back.
Interest costs are way down, and I guess I've done that.
Israelis are watching you now on live show. What is your specific way to pull the hostages out from the horrific captivity?
We are trying very hard to get the hostages out. We're looking at another ceasefire. We'll see what happens. But we want to get the hostages out.
Who broke the ceasefire?
Want the hostages out more than anything. They want the hostages out. This man is working very hard with us to do that. I mean,
Just like the treaties that were broken with the Native Americans.
Because he's been a great leader. He's working very, very hard on the hostages.
They're doing the exact same thing in
there are plenty of things you
Israel.
have to work on. It's a tough place
And
in the world.
Palestine.
You do have a good partner, and so do we. We're working very hard on the hostages.
If you're going to negotiate a new deal with Iran, can you elaborate how it's going to be more effective than the JCPOA?
Well, I can't really say that, but I think it'll be different and maybe a lot stronger. But they were so happy when we made that first deal because we did get a lot out. I had people right in this office, this beautiful Oval Office, that came in 10 people hostages, you know that. And I said to him, so how was it? And
look at all
stories they told me, as an example.
That gold bullshit that he put in there.
Sign of love. You were there.
The Oval Office never looked like that.
It's only 10, but it's pretty representative.
He's gonna have a throne in there soon, like Solomon.
Show any signs of help or liking you? Did they wink at you? Did they give you a piece of bread extra? Did they give you a meal on the side, like you think of doing? Like what happened in Germany, what happened elsewhere. People would try and help people that were in unbelievable distress. They said no. I said, all of them. I said, did they ever wink at you like, you'll be okay? You're gonna be okay? No, they didn't do that. They'd slap us. The hatred is unbelievable. And the lives, you know, they lived in a pipe, not really a tunnel, it was a pipe. And they always thought they were suffocating, they were gonna suffocate. And then they'd open up the pipe and it was like 3.5 feet high. This isn't, you know, we hear tunnels bad, but pipes are worse. And the stories I heard were incredible. But I just said, was there any sign of potential love or affection? And there were none whatsoever. It was amazing to me. There was nothing like,
Ramble,
here, take this,
ramble,
it's a little extra
ramble.
meal or something. They lived like hell. I don't know. They seemed to be, they were amazing to me because they seemed to be pretty normal. They weren't scarred, but I guarantee underneath they have to be scarred. And one was there for 356 days. Another was there for about 180 days. You know, a long time. These are people that have been really, really horribly treated. I've never seen anything like it, actually. I was very surprised to hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there 2 or 3 countries that are on your list that you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5 and a year, maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing, they make it so
That's not the
difficult,
question
the
he asked you,
standards
bro.
and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air, and if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany would dent likewise, unless you're going to have an army tank, it's going to dent. So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries, and we're not going to let that happen. Those are called
They don't need our
barriers.
products, bro. We
They make
need their
barriers that are
products.
so tough that it's impossible to
This is what
qualify.
this idiot doesn't get.
Tariffs are a big part of it, but
He has no
there's another
understanding
big part
of
it,
global
and
economics.
it's barriers. They also do something else. They manipulate their currency and they drive it down. They want
If it wasn't for Russia bailing him out and continue to own his ass, he would no longer even exist.
They bring their currency down.
He would have been a failed fucking
It's very hard to
businessman.
sell a tractor. It's very hard to sell product.
And y'all want to put
Because
this
their
motherfucker
currency is
in the
low
office of
and
president
ours is much
of the
higher,
United
relatively. And so it makes it very hard. I speak to
You deserve what
a
the
lot of
fuck you
companies that
get.
do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell.
I'm ready for it,
because
whatever
what
it
they've
is.
done is they've lowered the yen, or they've lowered the yuan, or they've lowered their currency, so that it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, but they have to respect the United States. And nobody but me would do this.
I told
It would be nice to
Nobody
serve,
but me could do
a
it.
nice, easy term. But we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity
You've
to
already
reset
done
the
it.
table
You've torn
on
it.
trade. We lose billions
Irreparable
of dollars. We lose
damage
close to,
has been done to this
$2 trillion
garment.
a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China. $1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We
Because
lose
they manufacture
hundreds of
everything.
billions of
We don't
dollars
manufacture
overall.
anything.
Probably
And what we do
$2 trillion.
manufacture, it's not of good quality
Number one,
anymore.
why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable?
Because
Then
it's
you
too
hear about
expensive
all of the people
to
that say,
create
well,
it
deficits.
to the
If we have a
quality that we
deficit
would
with
need
the
to
country,
have.
If the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive
That's why we
surplus
outsource
that
it
they
to
take and they
China.
spend on their military. Well, we don't want that.
Idiot.
I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military. I don't want them spending money on their military. And I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that. So, it's going to
China
be
would
very
eat our
interesting.
lunch
It's the only chance
in a war right now.
our country will have to reset the table.
First of all, because their Navy
no other president would be
is
willing
much
to do
larger
what
than
I'm
ours.
doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going
They got
through
a
it
billion
because I see
people.
a beautiful picture at the end. But we are making
We got
tremendous
330,000,
progress.
330 million.
Countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten
And you can start a
badly
war with
because of
Mexico
what's happening. They're getting beaten
and
badly.
Canada.
They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on
Oh,
trade.
man.
And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country
He
economically
who
again.
controls the
And we're going to
seas,
have those factories that are empty all
he who
over
controls
United
the
States.
waters,
We've lost 90,000
controls the globe.
plants and factories. Think of this.
Watch what happens in the
90,000
Indo
it's possible.
Pacific.
90,000 plants and factories
Taiwan.
since NAFTA, which was,
Just
by the
watch.
way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done. And we went to the USMCA, which was much better. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats. Mexico cheats.
Well, how can they cheat
Things.
if
But
you
we are
created
resetting
a
the
new
table.
system
We're
that
gonna
was
have
supposed to be
great
better?
trade. And we're going to have a very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has
Answer that
maybe
question.
never been, or maybe, you know, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff based. We had no income tax.
Yeah, and there had
In
not been
1913, some
a
genius
World
came
War
up with
II
the idea of, let's charge
or
the
World
people
War
of our
I for that
country,
matter.
not foreign countries that are ripping off our country.
We wasn't a global
The country was
player
never,
like that.
relatively, was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't know what to do with our money. We had meetings, we had committees. And
Idiots.
these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give it to? And I hope we're going to be in that position again.
Mr. President, do you plan to reduce the tariffs that your government put on Israeli goods, 17%?
Look at the office, man. Look at that gold gilded bullshit back there.
Whole new trade. Maybe not. Maybe
It's
not.
just tacky.
We help Israel a lot. You know, we give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a
Tacky
lot.
Trump.
Congratulations, by the way.
That's gonna be my new
But we give
nickname
Israel
for this thing.
billions of dollars a year. Billions. It's one of the highest of, and we give a lot
Ticky tacky
we give a
Trump.
lot of countries money. You wouldn't believe it if I said we give Afghanistan a lot of money, did you? Because that was a Biden deal, another Biden deal. Not only did he embarrass us with that, but they give them billions of dollars, Afghanistan, right? So, but no, we take good care of our friends and we don't take care of our enemies. We're not taking care of our enemies anymore, but we do take care of our friends.
So you're not taking care of Russia.
For the Times of Israel, the IDF is fighting to get in the Gaza Strip. I myself might be called up in a month. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? Do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also effective pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that
Gotta
we
develop
would be
it.
involved in. But
Gotta make some money out of it.
having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You go
Well, let them come to America.
A free zone.
Move
a
them here.
zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
Why don't you move them here, bro?
You know what I call it? A great location that nobody wants to live in.
That's a
Because
trade.
they really don't.
You
And
take their land,
when
you
they
give them
have
some
good
over here.
When they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems.
That'll never
the-
fucking
the
happen. You
level
know
of
it.
Death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave
We've been listening to Donald Trump in the Oval Office with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. You would be excused for not remembering that Netanyahu's there. He hasn't spoken in a while. If you were watching the lower right-hand side of your screen, you would have noticed the Dow has been all over the place just in the last 30 or so minutes. getting down to the 200s at one point. Now right back up, down a percent. and
Oh, well,
a
this is
little
going to
bit more.
close
We still have
1,000 or
Stephen
or
Cook and
more
Catherine Rampell.
by the end of the day. All right, man. Until next time.
I feel like you need a